Hello. This is effectively an 18-month review of the Festool SYS-AIR M air filtration unit. The idea behind these is to clean the air, to remove dust particles that dust extraction units can't remove from circulation. Festool say that 90–95% of dust gets removed by the dust extractor, so this last sort of 5 or 10% will get removed by this. I'm a big fan of these kind of systems. I've actually got one in my workshop here that I've had for a good few years. This is the Record Power 2-stage air filter. Now, the thing to bear in mind is I always use dust extraction in my workshop. Always. Table saw, I use dust extraction at the blade guard and underneath. Miter saw, of course, everything. Like any power tool I can, I use dust extraction. In spite of that, you can see what it's pulled out of the air. So even with dust extraction, there's all manner of stuff floating around in the air in your workspace, and obviously it's going to get into your lungs at some point. So that is why you use these air filters in addition to dust extraction and all your power tools, because they withdraw all this stuff that dust extraction kind of misses. So the reason I got this one is because portability. All my gear's in sustainers. I've got the Makita ones and the Festool T-locks and the Type, the Sustainer 3s. So the fact that this is in a sustainer is brilliant, because you can put it on top of your CTL MIDI, you can stack it up in the van, you can put it on dollies. It's great for organisation and transportation that it's in the sustainer ecosystem. You do pay for that though. The air filter that I just showed you costs about 150 quid. This one's about 750. So you're paying a lot of money for portability. Now, as for the performance of both units, I don't know. Maybe this one is 5 times as good as the other one. I don't know, but I'm just saying that you pay a lot more for something that's portable, notwithstanding any differences in performance. In terms of what work I do professionally, I do a lot of painting and decorating. I do refurbishment work, carpentry. Included within that, I do airless spraying. So having this is very beneficial. I can spray a ceiling with my Graco airless sprayer. I can then leave this running on high for 15–20 minutes to go and get a cup of tea, and when I come back, you can see that it looks clearer. And actually, if you look at the Festool's information, if you've got, say, a typical size room of, say, 4 meters by 4 meters and 2.5 meters high, that's about 40 cubic meters. This thing on the high setting, which we'll come to in a minute, will recycle all of the air in that room about 4 to 5 times per hour, and the filters have a filtration rate of 99.9% of dust particles that it's rated to collect. So it's very beneficial for keeping your site clean, keeping the air clean, and ultimately keeping you and your lungs clean. So I like it. I use it for all different types of work. Just to give you a brief overview of it, it's an M-class unit. My understanding is The only difference between L and M class is M class tells you when the performance of the unit has been compromised by some kind of impairment, such as a filter being blocked, or in the case of an extractor, if the hose is blocked, that kind of thing. Fundamentally, it's no different to L. It's just the fact that it has this kind of performance monitor that tells you when you need to carry out some kind of remedial action to ensure the efficiency of the unit, which is important if you're working in people's houses or in a commercial environment. Brief overview of the features. So in the top here, all that's in here is the cable storage, as per normal. You get a nice cable with Festool, good quality, sits on the floor nicely, straightens out. This is 7.5 meters long, so long enough for most applications. Tucks in nicely. At the front here, you just got a handle if you're using the racking system. One of the vents. This end, this is the air intake. So what you've got here is, this comes down, and this is your primary filter. So most of the time when you replace a filter, it's going to be this one. These are fairly cheap. I think I got a pack of 5 for about 15 quid. So each time you change it costs you about 3 quid. And I've had this 18 months and I've only ever changed this maybe 3 or 4 times. Not very often. I'll come on to how you know to change it. And then in there you've got the main filter, which I've not had to change yet, although it's looking like it's getting on its way. Very easy to change your filters over. It's not a big job. There we are, that's the back. Around the back here, nothing, just another filter, another air exhaust. Right, this is the main control panel. So you've got another sort of air exhaust here. It's actually got 3 exhausts, and the idea is that rather than the air blasting out of one, it comes out of 3 in 3 different directions to sort of minimize the disturbance to the surrounding area, which I guess makes sense. Here's the on-off switch. When you turn it on, this light goes green. When the performance of the unit has been impeded because the primary filter is blocked and needs replacing, this light will go to red, and you know there's something you need to address. You've got 2 settings, 1 and 2. One is eco mode, the other is, I don't know what it's called, high setting, full blast, whatever you want to call it. I tend to keep it on eco mode just for sort of, fairly routine stuff. But if I'm doing something that has generated quite a lot of dust, like let's say I'm using a miter saw, I'm using a 1/2-inch router, or if I've just done some airless spraying, I put it onto the high setting for 20 minutes, half an hour, just to clear things. Here you've got a 240 volt socket. As you can see here, maximum wattage this will take is 2,200 watts. Just to give you an idea of what that will do is, I can run my CTL MIDI dust extractor and my Capex KS60 through this, and there's not a problem. So I don't know what the wattage is of those units, but it'll run through this. So that's quite handy, because you can have just this unit's power cable running to the wall, and then you can have the dust extractor plugged into this and the Capex plugged in to the dust extractor, so you can use the kickoff, and they all kind of daisy chain together, but you've only got one cable going to the wall, which is better for cable management. So that's nice and useful. A few other features. There's another feature that I've not actually used yet, and I think it shows it in here. That feature there. What you can do, you can buy something. It costs about 100 quid in the UK, I believe. You can put that sort of plastic port over the sort of the inlet, and then attach what is essentially one of those big, what they call, like slinkies, effectively. So if, say for example, you're working on a stair, you're hand sanding a stringer or a newel post or something, or a spindle or whatever it might be, you could have this unit at the top, and then the hose coming down to where you're working, so it's picking up all the dust. Quite useful. I've not had to use it, I've not had to buy it, I haven't needed to use it, but it's something to bear in mind. I mean, that's about it. It's one of these tools. It's not particularly dynamic. I mean, it's not like a drill or a saw where I could like cut through loads of bits of timber and everyone goes, "Oh, that's really powerful." These things kind of just sit in the background, wearing away, doing their thing. In terms of who should get one, I would say it's definitely for people who are working mobile. I personally wouldn't spend this kind of money if it was going to sit in a workshop. I'd get the one I showed you. It's definitely for people working mobile, and really people who generate any kind of dust. So if you're you know, somebody who works indoors doing carpentry, definitely painting and decorating, airless spraying, if you're a kitchen fitter, bathroom fitter, anything like that, anything where you're generating dust. If you want to keep the site tidy and yourself tidy and your lungs clean, buy one of these. They are very beneficial, and as I showed you at the beginning of the video, they work in the background and they pick up loads of dust that dust extractors can't, and I think that's very, very valuable. As for would I buy it again after 18 months used professionally? Definitely. I'd buy it in a heartbeat. I use it a lot at work, because I value working in a clean environment. You know, dust is a bit of a silent killer, so if you can keep it down to a minimum, I think that's a good thing. It's also good PR. I've worked in customers' houses a few times, and they've asked what it is, and I think they've been quite impressed that I'm trying to control the air quality in their house. So it's a really good bit of kit. That's about it, really. I mean, there's not really too much more to say. It sucks muck out of the air, and that's about it. If you've got any questions, drop into the comments. But other than that, I think that's about it. If you've made it this far, thanks very much. Bye bye.